Indeed, these are times not only of sorrow in Israel and mourning, grieving, but also of psychological trauma. And we're seeing some of that weigh heavy on the Jewish people right now. I mean, there's psychologists, psychiatrists having conferences wondering, how do we handle the PTSD? How do we handle the psychological trauma that Jewish people are going through right now? So keep this nation in prayer in this time. IDF informed the Bibas family that after inspecting the remains returned by Hamas on Thursday, that the bodies of the 2 young children that were kidnapped and murdered just because they're Jewish were indeed the red-headed Ariel and Kfir. But forensics showed that they weren't killed by an explosion. They were killed by hand. What kind of monsters would do this? And the third body wasn't Shiri, the mother. Where is Shiri? We're going to get to the bottom of this. We're going to handle this. We're going to see this through. Right now, there's a big meeting. There's coming up a huge meeting on March 4th called by the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, along with Egypt and Jordan and other Gulf states, to discuss the future of Gaza, to maybe formulate some plan other than the Trump plan. And people are trying to attempt to smuggle weapons to Hamas. Okay, from southern Israel, from Judea and Samaria. I don't know where they're trying to bring these weapons from, by drone. It's not going to happen. We are going to keep our finger on the pulse. Palestinian Islamic Jihad went to meet with the president in Tehran, with Iranian president. They want to do an axis of evil, an ally of evil, allies of evil. And did you see what happened right now? The buses exploding, explosions. 3 buses blew up, and there was bombs also in 2 other buses. It was supposed to be, do you know what happened is, a terrorist attack was actually averted. It was supposed to be hundreds and hundreds of Jewish people murdered in the streets on buses. But these 3 buses exploded, and they were empty. They were, what happened is people noticed some strange objects, and it was the end of the day. What happened, it was actually set, the bombs were set for 8 o'clock, but they didn't put 8 o'clock a.m. when the buses would be packed. They put 8 o'clock p.m. They didn't know how to do it right, and it's really a miracle that they messed up in this way. And this was in Holon and Bat Yam. There was more, and it's near where my friends are every day, and they could have died. And we came very dangerously close to a huge tragedy. And so that is, when people saw the suspicious packages, they said, hey, go take this and call the police. And so that's what happened, is they took the buses to the bus station, called the police, and everybody got off the buses. What's going on is an atrocity to anyone who has any religion. I'd like to hear Jordanian politician Mudar Bahrain. He says the same thing. He said, you're beholding an industrial, whole-scale brainwash of an entire population. He says, he was in an interview, and he says, look, what is going on here is Jordan has already said they're not and don't plan on taking Gaza. They don't want Gaza. So President Trump has the only plan that could possibly work. So, what does this have to do with Judea and Samaria? He says, look, it's a wake-up call for the world. We are at a tipping point in the world. You remember how just before Nazi Germany, the whole world was at a tipping point, whether it's going to fall to Nazism. Well, we're now on a tipping point. Will we fall to jihadism? Okay? And legally, Jordanian citizenship law says that every Palestinian is Jordanian. It says they are part of Jordan. 1940 until 1954, anyone who was born during that date is a naturally born Jordanian. Some of them are Egyptians. They speak Egyptian. So he says that, look, according to the law, the right of return should be allowing them to go into Jordan. So, and the fact that the place is unlivable means it's time. Are they refugees, or are they in their homeland? If they're refugees, then they need to be sent to a land to be absorbed. Okay? So I'm just telling you guys right now is all of us are also very angry because of the situation. We're very angry. And this situation can't just be perpetuated. It can't continue anymore. Isaiah 66 says, verse 24 says, their worm will not die and their fire will not be quenched. They will be an abhorrence to all mankind. This is what we're looking at. Deuteronomy 30. The Lord your God will inflict all these curses on your enemies and on all those who hate you and all those who persecuted you. Shabbat Shalom.